For the first time ever, captured in sound, I present to you Asha, Phaedra.
Hi!
Okay, let's get to this week's podcast. Hello and welcome to this week's Yarrercast. I'm your host Yarr22 and hope you're having a pretty good first day. Be it first day evening, first day lunch and first day morning, whatever time it is inside your place. Hope it's a good day to you. If it's not, then just chill bro, chill and come to our podcast for a little 15-minute break on absolutely randomness that I have no idea what I'm doing. But before we begin today's interview with Asha Phaedra, I have to announce that there has been rather terrible news quite recently. 2 ANIMATORS YouTube channels have been terminated by hackers. And the channels of Echo Feathers and Fluffy Chicken Dog, a pretty close friend here on the server indeed, their channels have been terminated by hackers. And this kind of disrespect to art, it is really terrible, in my opinion. Such despicable actions should be condemned at once, and I really hope that all the fans or art enthusiasts out there subscribe to their new channels, which I'll link in the description below. Give them some love, and if you're currently, like every other artist and animator out there with some online influence, please be sure to use services such as backup accounts in case your main account fails, or 2-factor authorization, so hackers won't get in that easily. And with all that being said, I hope everything is well, even though this year has been absolutely disastrous. But there is one thing that beats it all. It's Asha Phaedra, the animator of Load and Burn, the very amazing animator that you've seen her animations. And now we're working on very much to get the first episode of Load and Burn out. Please everyone, welcome Asha Phaedra.
Not picking up. Oh, hello!
Yeah, it wasn't exactly picking up. Discord is like this, it's really weird. Okay, so perhaps a little bit introduction on your series Load and Burn.
So, Load and Burn is an animated series. Okay, please wait, I shall wait. I have time to think of my answer because I have no idea. Load and Burn is an animated series that we are currently producing. It is planned to have 3 seasons, but of course we don't know if we're gonna reach that goal. The story follows a cat, Asha, in her journey to find out what happened to her childhood home and what's the mysterious amulet that cat gave her.
So why the title Load and Burn?
Well, first off, I really like titles that are sort of a sentence. If I give an example, I really like stuff like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest or Strong Hearts Are Mandatory. I really like those. So when I was trying to come up with the title for the series, I was just brainstorming these really random stuff, and I figured that Ready, Aim, Fire, that classical, what you say when you shoot, was really cool, but it needed an original spark, so I changed it to fit Sandra more.
Yeah.
So basically, I just wanted to name it Ready, Aim, Fire, but there were a lot of books with that name, and I wanted to if someone searched Ready, Aim, Fire, they wouldn't find my series or not. So I changed up the words to Load and Burn, and nobody had that taken. It's not copyrighted, so I figured, yeah, that sounds great.
Tell us a little bit about your artistic journey.
The classical answer is, I've been drawing and creating my whole life ever since childhood.
Clichéness. Such cheesiness.
So yeah, I don't have a different answer.
Oh my gosh, we have an echo now. Please, please.
But yeah, I feel like I'm like everyone else. I just did it for fun, and now it's how it's going to be my job, basically.
What inspired it, and how did they exactly form?
Well, I tell this a lot, but it's the idea for the story, not for the characters, but basically for the story, because the characters existed prior to Load Aim Burn just existing on their own, like concepts. Load Aim Burn started from a comic I did for school, which featured Asha and Sandra meeting, and Sandra basically tricking Asha into giving her like this special ring that was very special to Asha. So that's basically where the idea came from, and the idea for the amulet. From then on, I basically developed the idea in my head. The earlier versions would be like Asha and Sandra would fight against Dante. That was basically it. That was the whole story.
That's pretty spicy.
So yeah, meta was thrown in at later. I'm not sure what her purpose was. I believe she did not have any purpose to the story. But that's how it started, and ever since then I've been just piling ideas and other stuff, other ideas for the magic system, ideas for the locations, and it just kind of became its own thing. So
yeah, it just sort of like blew up. Like, definitely, I saw the first episode script because I'm part of the production. I'm pretty sure everyone in production already saw it. It's mind-blowing, and I can give you that. It's really insanely mind-blowing. So, what's our current progress in Load Aim Burn, and what's next for the series?
Currently in the middle of the storyboard phase, or more like the animatic phase. I think we have like 70% of the animatic done, and I'm also compiling the casting call for voice actors and animators. So that's where we are at. After the storyboard is finished and after we get the voice actors, it's time to do the animation, and then we're good.
Yeah, it's going to be a long journey all the way through. Even for me, because I'm in charge of the music, and the music is very insane. So, indeed, art is a very important human heritage, because art and culture is part of what makes us human. But it's not exactly a very popular thing in every society. Do you think your society respects arts and culture?
Well, of course, it's not respected. There are way more respectable careers, and if you tell someone you're an artist, they're like, okay, can you draw me? So yeah, it's not
artist abuse.
Yeah, but it's not looked down either. I haven't really encountered any resistance from anyone. The only thing my parents worry about me being capable of making a living, because I go to a graphic design school, I have a lot of opportunities. So not only can I do photography, graphic design or fine arts, but I also, thanks to my hobbies, I can work in the animation industry. So the only danger I would face is if I was a freelancer or I would work on short-term contracts, because that would be really hard to find work.
True, job instability is increasing these days with this COVID-19 pandemic. All the traditional jobs have become unstable. So art as a career, what exactly is the prospects of this artist career? What would you say be the opportunities of pursuing an artistic career? And just now you said it wasn't exactly too stable, but like, how much can you exactly live on art itself?
Depends on what job you are doing. If you are a graphic designer, if you're doing fine arts or like, illustrations, commission work, or if you are in a studio, because that's a lot of difference. If you're a graphic designer, then you're basically fine if you get in a studio, because it's really stable. I think it pays okay, at least in my country it pays okay. It's a living wage. If you make commissions, if you're a freelance artist, then it's really hard to find work to do. I'm not really sure how people do it. I really don't do commissions myself, but so yeah, I think it's really unstable. I think it's better to work in a studio than to be a freelancer.
Intriguing. So there are indeed many growing talents out there, and YouTube has perhaps become the second, I don't know, maybe second greatest platform to art, because the first one's definitely DeviantArt. The second greatest platform is perhaps YouTube, especially for animation, because YouTube's the animation place, YouTube's the video world, and also it's pretty much exactly a crucial platform where we can grow and also learn from each other, as well as join different artist communities. In fact, without YouTube, I wouldn't be here today. But YouTube and art, this can be a very risky relationship, because YouTube's algorithm, even if you're not doing art content, it can exactly get you really high someday, and the other day you're just not there for no reason, nobody remembers you. Do you think that the algorithm, and in fact the entire ecosystem and exposure of YouTube itself, is good for art development, and especially for people who consider YouTube as perhaps their career as well as art? Does it exactly repay enough?
Absolutely not. Speaking of algorithm, and artistic development,
yeah, it's pretty traditionally off the algorithm.
Well, yeah, I really don't know how the algorithm works. I don't know.
Nobody knows that. The glorious algorithm is very secretive.
So I don't know how I gained my subscribers. I have no idea how I got to the point where I am, and that's a problem, because if you plan to make a YouTube channel, if you don't already have one, it's really hard to break out and to figure out what to do, because it's not really easy to, gain a lot of subscribers, get the attention of the algorithm.
So would you exactly say, like, finding a career on YouTube, would it be an excellent choice, or is it just something that you consider do when you've got time?
You are crazy if you think you can make a living off of YouTube. I'm gonna tell you how much I make myself for my animations. Of course, I do not work full-time. I usually make about $45 per video. So that's like a week of working. $45 I meant, like
American
USD dollar.
dollars. That means it's 45 times 7 for Hong Kong, because Hong Kong to US dollar, should it not depreciate over the next few months, because we're in a very terrible financial crisis here. Should it not depreciate, it should be some $200, which I'm pretty sure I have even more than that in my drawer right now for my savings of my lunch money of so many weeks. That's pretty low rate, actually.
Well, yeah, you don't get... I think it's because animation takes, time, and you get more money based off how long the video is, how much the watch time, how many ads you can put on your video, which unfortunately animation memes just are not suitable for multiple ads, so you don't get a lot of money from it. And even from Patreon, which I get about, I think it's around $60 per month in US dollars, which is more.
Low. Definitely not enough to buy a flat or any cage in Hong Kong, because Hong Kong's housing prices are insanely high. Indeed, art is the kind of career that takes an insane amount of time, and especially if you are not in an art school, you don't have the opportunity to do too much art. For non-art school students, how would you suggest them to take opportunities to really work on their art, because this is their passion despite they're not exactly studying art?
It depends on what school you are in, because of course I was in primary or middle school, I don't know how it's exactly called, but before you go to high school, you go to the school that focuses on everything, and we really didn't have an art class because
sad.
they thought it was
years
useless.
Of mandatory art class.
So yeah, if they thought this art was useless, so they didn't really teach us that much. But I usually found time to doodle in class. That's what I was doing. The teachers kept screaming at me, "Ash, just stop drawing. You're supposed to be doing math." And I'm like, "No, I want to draw." So that's what I was doing. The whole
#persistence. Respect.
I got in so much trouble for drawing, especially in like 4th grade or something. It's like I think I was sent to the principal and got like detention because I couldn't stop drawing. I think I was drawing like ponies or something like that, and my teacher just had to take the pencil away from me and like, "Ash, go outside, take time to cool off, and then come back, and you're gonna be doing whatever we were doing." I have no idea, some checks, some exercises. So yeah, the only time I was a troublemaker in school was because I was drawing. So
Careers that kill. Very true. For me, the thing for me is 9 years of mandatory art class sounds like an excellent idea, is it? No, it's not, because of all the art assignments and how your parents are telling you, yeah, just nobody's going to care about art, just get me a pass or something, or else just spend time study, don't do art. With that kind of attitude in mind, I can tell, throughout that 9 years of mandatory art class, I hated art. Actually, legit, I personally hated art. It wasn't until when I started to do animated productions. First one failed, obviously, because I was too ambitious. But when I started to do animated productions, and I began to look for art communities, and I began to join this one, obviously, inspired by you joining this community, I began to understand what exactly is art. And I think that Hong Kong parents, when art was mandatory, they interpret it too much. They say that, yeah, just get me a pass grade, just be sort of excellent and just be fine, or I'll do it for you. Yeah, there were several art assignments that even my parents had to do it for me. It's just really built an environment that everyone hates art. And if one isn't given the opportunity to experience the real art community, the real art environments like this one, I will still continue to hate art today, and I don't think I'll be here. I don't think I'll be meeting all of you because of that. I turned from hating art to an art enthusiast. And that is actually a very difficult step, because Hong Kong isn't that kind of society that really encourages art. And it's so hard to take a balance in between school and also art. In fact, if it weren't for the pandemic, I wouldn't even have an opportunity to improve my mouse art skills. The final question for me, to the many young, aspiring artists out there, no matter their background, no matter their internet censorships, no matter they are being encouraged or discouraged, what would you want to encourage them? What would you advise them to do?
I think the number one problem artists face is like in the face of bad art, that they're working on something and it's not coming out that they want as good as they would like it to be. And
happens to me all the time.
So yeah, to me too as well, even though the stuff I put on YouTube is like my best work. So I would say just take a step back and focus on something different, and you'll find a way to make that piece better. If you feel unmotivated to do art, or if you just can't seem to work on art, which is called art block, if you feel dissatisfied with what you're doing, you step back, take a break, and then come back to it again. And if you don't have motivation, you just gotta do it. You just gotta sit behind the tablet, behind the paper, you gotta do it. Sometimes you have to work on something despite it's not fun or it's not good. You take a break, and if that doesn't work, you just have to do it. You just gotta sit behind it, and maybe it will turn out well somehow, even though you're not having fun, even though you're not enjoying it.
Art is a thing that's constantly romanticized as, oh, it's the artist just drawing their own stuff and they're going to always draw out good, and when I'm trying to draw hands, I can never draw hands because I never do, and I can never get it always right all the time. But apparently, as it seems from the works of Asha Phaedra, that art isn't exactly the most easiest path to take. It's more of like sweat and tears, just like every other industry, just like every other subject, just like every other school day. And with that, thank you so much for joining us in this week's Yarrercast today. Thank you, Asha Phaedra, for the first time, opening up her voice to YouTube. It's been great having you. And we do hope that the animators whose channels have been terminated, they will find their fans supporting them, and the world is actually filled with support in these extremely dire times. And I do hope that all of you are staying safe, staying home, and also keeping all the social distance and wearing a face mask. Please do wear face coverings or wear a mask. Just please stay safe. And with all that, thank you guys so much for coming to this week's Yarrercast. Next week we will be interviewing Joycelyn Wu. And stay tuned for next week's content. And with that, please remember to comment, like, and subscribe. Support Asha's Phaedra's channel. Check out her channel for even more updates about Loading Burn, as well as finding out the series Loading Burn. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye!